was cool how what's his name was telling us. I forget who. I think it was David Lucas was telling us that at the comedy club on Hollywood Boulevard, what's it called? The Comedy Store.
Yeah.
He was saying how like on Monday and Tuesday nights, just all these like fucking big shot comedians would just come in randomly with no notice and just try to work on new shit that they've written.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like Rogan talks about that all the time. Like the Tuesday night lineups at the store used to be killers because it would be like D'Elia and Jeselnik and Whitney Cummings and Rogan and Chappelle and Burr all doing 15 minutes back to back to back. You know, and
then why wouldn't you would think that that would be like the night everyone wants to go? You know what I mean?
It is.
So like those are the most packed nights at the comedy stores.
Those nights and then the weekends, like whenever they have like the
weekends,
because on the weekends they'll have like 3 of those people all headlining in different rooms, you know. So it'll be more those specific fans versus like comedy fans in general. You know what I mean? Like on a Tuesday night, it's not like all Joe Rogan fans coming to see Joe Rogan do 15 minutes. Like they're going to want to see his hour. But they're like, you know, the people that like listen to the podcast and stuff and they like, are they just like comedy in general? Or they're like, I've watched all 6 of these guys' specials. Like I want to see what they're working on. It's more of those people on like a Tuesday night at the Cellar. So it's more of like a regular mic in that it's a mixed crowd.
But do you think they market it on the Tuesday nights and the Monday nights? Or do you think they randomly pop in?
No, a lot of them are marketed, but then you still have guys that are like Chris Rock might pop in, or like Dave Chappelle might not be on the lineup, but if he shows up, they're gonna put him on. He's Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool the fact that they would just show up unannounced. You know what I mean? Like you could be there. A
lot of guys do.
You could be there for fucking whoever, Bill Burr, and then Dave Chappelle just shows up.
Yeah, and they do that a lot. Like that's what happened down here in Florida. So like Ron White was booked at Off the Hook in Naples, but it'd been so long since he'd been doing comedy that he just brought his bus to Florida and was popping in and doing different rooms and stuff like that at different clubs, just showing like Joe List was at Side Splitters, right? And Ron White just showed up and was like, hey, Joe, do you mind if I do like 15, 20 minutes? And he's like, yeah, you're Ron fucking White. You know what I mean? So that night, the people that bought tickets to see Joe List got to see special guest Ron fucking White.
Right.
You know?
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And so he's doing that and then a bunch of like private like hard rock gigs, you know, and stuff for his tequila brand and all that kind of stuff and just sharpening the iron before his booked shows. And then when I got to see him in Naples, he was fucking razor sharp. And then the last night he was there, because that club where you guys saw me, that weekend went so great. Like the club owner likes me a lot, and I'd been there to see Ron White, and so I'd seen him just 2 days before, and so he called me and he's like, "Hey, so Ron White has a closer, so Ron White finishes his set and the show's not over." They bring on a closer to come on and do additional time while the club drops checks and stuff like that. Like the club doesn't drop the checks at the tables until Ron White's done. Yeah. So he's like, hey, the closer was only booked for 3 of his 4 days here. Do you want to close these shows for Ron White? And I was like, oh, you want me to follow Ron White? Fuck you. Yeah, I'll do it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you can't turn that down.
No,
and so,
no way.
But I was terrified because I was like, but that was my thought. I was like, this is what it would be like if I go to the Comedy Store and get on a Tuesday night. It's like, I'm going to have to follow some sort of killer legend, you know? Yeah. So I was like, this is the test, right? And so I was like worried because like in comedy, like if somebody before you absolutely kills, like it, you know, you have to match that. And if you can't match that, you're in a hole right out of the gate, you know? And sometimes depending on who it is, you're just in a hole, period. You know what I mean? Like, especially in that situation, like I'm there doing the, like during the check drop, like they in their head, they've already seen the guy they paid money to see, you know, let's fucking sign this check for this 2-item minimum bullshit and let's get the fuck out of here. But so I was like, in my head, I was like, I've got to dig out of 2 holes. So if I can dig out of 2 holes and do this, like that means I can do this. Yeah. You know?
It was a good test.
No hole.
Hell yeah.
No hole. Smooth as butter, just right into material and killed it.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, so basically like normally doing that check drop spot, like I just do material until everybody leaves. Like everyone's checks are done. Most people, like once their checks are done, they might stay for another minute or 2, but then their table gets up and leaves. So I'm basically like clearing the room, you know? But that first show I was doing 15. I was supposed to do Yeah, he's like basically do 15. And at one point, I was looking around, and all of the servers were done and just standing around the room. And I was like, all right. So I just wrapped it up right there. I like stopped 2 minutes short because everyone was just still in their seats.
Yeah.
Like
nobody's leaving.
Wow.
nobody had left. Yeah.
That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
yeah, and so but it went so well. Like, the second show that he was like, dude, do 25. Like, we don't have another show to do after this, so just fucking go.
Right.
You know. So, and I did it twice, you know?
It seems like such a grind to do, especially if that's your main source of income.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's got to be fucking one of the most difficult things to do when you have nothing else. I mean, I understand. It makes so much sense if you already have money and you're comfortable. And you're like, I mean, that's what happens to most people when they make a lot of money or they make it. And they're just like, I want to switch it up. I want to go try this. Because you're not dependent on that to make money. You're just doing it because you strictly enjoy it.
But that's why those people, you don't hear about those people. Like, almost no, there's very few famous comedians that like come from money. Because you have the money, you have the security, you never take it serious. Like, it's a hobby to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus the people that are like, look, I don't have anything else I'm looking forward to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a career, I have a job.
Right.
You know, or, I'm a student, or like I've had a bunch of dead end jobs and none of them went anywhere. Like, this is the thing I like. Like, I want this to be my career. And, the people that are like, this is what I'm going to use to feed myself. Those are the people, because they instill that drive in themselves with that,
Yeah, that's when you kind of like, that's when you
like, literally,
you
my
marry.
success in comedy is now necessary for my survival.
Right.
So I have to,
And you
keep
have
my
to-
focus on that, and I have to keep working, and I have to keep pushing, and I have to keep going. I don't have a choice, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I had a bunch of different fucking jobs, and they all eventually, I burnt out from all of them. This is the first thing I've had where it's like, one, it's mine. Like, nobody can fire me from it. Nobody can tell me, as long as I'm good at doing it, I can do it for as long as I want. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
And so I'm master of my own destiny now. And literally, like, I drive around in a van wherever I decide. I'm like, I'm going to go here. Like, I just went down to Fort Myers for the weekend to hang out at the club there because my buddy was featuring. And I was like, I'm going to go watch him feature, I'm just sleep in the parking lot,
Man,
So-
that's nice. It's very free.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's also like the mental benefit of like every day I wake up, I have something to do. I have like, okay, I'm going here, like it's literally like you can feel your momentum because
Yeah.
I'm literally moving,
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
on a
I'm like a
mission.
shark, like I can't stop swimming.
Yeah.
The hardest part for most people is marrying the talent with the discipline. Because that's why you say the most creative people in the world are servers, or they're waiting tables.
Yeah.
Because they never found the discipline and they never were able to tie that lasso around their creativity, or around the muse, as some people like to call it.
Yeah. And I struggle with that sometimes, but I also like when I'm struggling with that, I'm like, okay, what like muscle can I build up to make it easier to get around this? Like, what muscle can I build up so I can wrestle with this a little bit better? You know what I mean? So when I'm struggling with that, I'll go to an open mic and just say what I'm thinking. And literally just, I'm going to talk out loud until I find something funny, and this
Yeah.
is what we're doing. Like, and now, like, I've created that artificial pressure. You know what I mean? Like, all of these people can't just watch me eat shit for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I got to come up with something and be, like, basically forcing myself to respond, Like, you can't, once you're on stage, like, you can't procrastinate anymore. It's
Right.
time to work.
You're there.
Yeah, 100%.
It's got to be very therapeutic too.
A
to do
little
all
bit,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just cool because, like I said, I was so bad at, like, communicating with people, and then, like, now I found this way to communicate with a large group of people, and I figured out, like, my method of communication that lets me relate to people. You know what I mean? So at this point, like, I literally need it because this is how I interact with society.
Yeah.
Like, this is my socialization, and I have to have socialization. Every human being does. Like,
Right.
even the most, like, isolative, like, introverted person needs human interaction. And now I have it,